Don't be afraid. Be very, very afraid.
Welcome to Cynic Critique, where we get real with cult films. I'm your host, Thomas, and I'm here with my brother and co-host, my bro-host, Brian.
Hello.
This week we are still buzzing for the final part of our remake season, This Again, as we discuss the sequels to last week's movies with the original sequels Return of the Fly and Curse of the Fly, and the remake sequel simply named The Fly 2. Let's get started.
Firstly, it's Return of the Fly from 1959.
Suppose he does come here. What if Philippe does not have the mind of a human, but the murderous brain of the fly?
Then he will have to be destroyed.
Made on a budget of $225,000. That's an estimated from IMDb. I couldn't really find any other budgets given anywhere, and I couldn't find what this film grossed. So I'm tempted to say maybe it was a flop.
Yeah, made nothing.
Yeah. Written and directed by Edward Burns. It's a really hard name to say, I think.
Yeah.
Can you say it? Burns. Berns. It's an awkward one, I think. He previously directed Space Master X7, which I believe was also for 20th Century Fox, because it was the double feature with the original Fly. And still credited is George Langelan, or Langelan, I don't know how you want to say it, who wrote the short story originally published in Playboy in 1957. It stars Vincent Price as Francois Delambre, Brett Halsey as Philippe Delambre, David Frankham as Alan Hines, John Sutton as Inspector Beecham, Dan Seymour as Max Barthold, Danielle Demetz as Cecile Bernard, Ed Wolfe, he's uncredited, he's Philip as the Fly, and also uncredited is Joe Zaboran as the Fly. And the synopsis, as IMDb says, Philippe Delambre, the now adult son of the Fly, does some transportation experimentation of his own. I think just saying transportation experimentation makes this film sound even more interesting than it is, and more fun than it is. Could just be because of the rhyme. Maybe people like rhymes. So what were your thoughts anyway?
My thoughts on this one was a lot the same and few new things.
Yeah, when you say a lot of the same, you mean a lot of the same as what the first film did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of my problem with this, because there's also a lot of setup, it seems. Like, they waste a lot of the viewer's time just trying to set up what's going to be happening, and the viewer essentially knows, because more often than not, they've seen the original.
Yeah, and there's not much mystery behind anything either.
No.
You know, like, it's not really, like, they try with like a bit of a subplot, but there isn't.
You say not much mystery, but I think this film holds a pretty big mystery.
Yeah.
Just how many years later is it set? Because Philippe now seems like a much older character than he did.
Yeah, by about 20 years, I'd say, at least. I do like the fact in the synopsis it says he's now the adult son of the Fly.
Yeah.
Not Andre, but the Fly.
Yeah.
I know the Fly's in quotation marks, but it's still funny.
Did you recognise Brett Halsey, who plays Philippe in this?
Not really, no.
No? Okay. But you're a big fan of X-Men, right?
Apparently.
So apparently.
Yeah.
The audience don't know that you're not. So you didn't recognise the voice of Bolivar Trask?
No.
From the 90s X-Men animated series?
No, I didn't.
It's alright, I didn't either. I also didn't.
You always tell me you don't like X-Men.
I don't.
See.
I like the concept.
Yeah.
Did you recognise him as Michael Douglas in The Godfather Part 3?
The name wasn't Michael.
No, it's Douglas Michelson.
And no, I didn't.
No, me neither.
I've only seen Godfather 3 once.
I mean, from what I remember of this film, he's not memorable in this.
Well, that's because he gets outdone by Vincent Price.
Yeah.
And the other guy for just one scene, what's his name?
David Frankham.
Yeah. You know
Alan
the scene I'm
Hines.
going to say, right? You don't know the difference between a guinea pig and a lab rat.
Yeah, that becomes quite evident.
No one questions in on it. Like, they just kind of go like, oh, the poor guy didn't know the difference, but we won't say anything.
And as for mysteries with this film as well, I also find it a mystery that he doesn't know the difference between a lab rat and a guinea pig. And another mystery for me is, this is black and white.
Yeah.
I expected colour.
Yeah.
I was surprised when we watched the first one again, as we mentioned last week, that it was in colour, because I could have sworn when I first watched it, it was black and white.
Yeah.
But I just assumed going into this, it would be colour.
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen a film look more black and white. No, for the film to be in black and white, though, it's like when you get a hot drink and you think you've made tea, but for some reason you've made coffee. It's that sort of thing.
I thought you were going to say something like it's when you made tea but you've not made it with boiling water.
Oh, probably done that.
I thought it was going to be something like that.
Also, you mentioned Vinnie Price, who's absolutely fantastic in this. And yes, I'm calling him Vinnie Price. It adds a bit more charm to him, I think.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, I disagree.
I'm Vincent Price.
He's Vincent.
But I don't know what scene I'm referring to in my notes because it's been a while now from when we watched them, sadly. But I wrote, this kid is going to get what he deserves for talking to Vinnie Price that way. Any ideas what I'm referring to?
No.
Wish I had time to watch the film again now to find out what that was about.
I don't think you'd know watching it again either.
I think I would.
I guess it's something Philippe says to him in the beginning.
Oh, is there a flashback of Philippe as a boy?
No,
Why would I write kid then?
because it's you, and I just imagine he'd just refer to him as that. I really don't know.
Alright.
I don't remember a kid being in this movie, so I don't really.
I mean, there must have been. I wouldn't just write that.
You would.
It also wouldn't surprise me if I've kept that in from last week, but I don't remember saying that last week.
That's a very good point, actually. But still, it'll have been Philippe.
Yeah.
Just, I know they have a confrontation, a bit of an argument in this
Right.
one, don't they? And I just imagine you being on Vincent Price's side.
How can you not?
Yeah. The studio did only want to keep Vincent Price on because they thought it was the only bankable thing from the first one.
I thought it was more the fact they thought that's all they needed once he signed to make a sequel more than the bankability of it.
Well, they just thought he's all that required for it to be worthy of. They thought, yeah, we've got Vincent Price on. We've got a real movie now.
They maybe should have worked on a script, but that's what's weird. They apparently did because Vincent Price signed after reading the draft.
Yeah.
And then the studio demanded rewrites to reduce production costs and removed much of what Price liked about the draft
Yeah.
because the script became rewritten specifically to use standing sets from The Fly.
Yeah.
Which they kind of get wrong in this film, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I assume you're thinking of the whiteboard.
The blackboard.
Blackboard.
Yeah, it'd be a blackboard. It's the 50s.
Yeah, yeah.
The whiteboard wasn't a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You'd say, what's this whiteboard? And they're like, what are you on about a whiteboard? It's like, I want to draw on it with a marker pen. Like, oh, you can't draw on things with marker pens.
Sorry, it's just,
That's permanent. Are you crazy?
I was thinking that he could make telepods, so I thought he might have a whiteboard. Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, it would make sense as we're probably in the 80s, really.
Anyway, on the blackboard of Andre, it's still there, everything written down,
Yeah.
which Helen had apparently erased in the first movie. So that means someone's just gone in there and rewrote everything.
Yeah. With what evidence of what to put, I don't know.
No,
Makes you wonder.
that's the movie in itself, isn't it? Who went and wrote all that back on?
Oh, I mentioned that the writer and director of this did Space Master X7, which was the film paired with the original The Fly.
Yeah.
Like The Fly, this also was a double feature and was the top half, meaning it was played second, to a film called Alligator People.
Nice.
I think they should bring the double features back.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that last week or week before when we were on with the Blob. Because we mentioned that Tarantino and Rodriguez kind of tried, but no one understood why those movies were paired together.
Yeah, I think some screens in America paired them together and still kept it as Grindhouse, it was called, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas over here, they were definitely separated, and I think with like 6 months between releases or something as well.
Yeah.
But I think the most famous thing about this film is probably the fact that the Misfits, the punk band, named a song after it.
Right. I thought you were going to say the most famous thing about this film was going to be it had a guy with a fly head in it, like the first one.
Well, no, it's like the most famous thing about the first film, isn't it?
I suppose.
But this guy, they went a stage further. They gave him a leg too.
Yeah.
A leg and a wing to see the king, but no wing, so no king.
No, that should be in the next one. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find out, won't they? When we get to that one after this. Also, I said that the Misfits named a song after this. So did 80s hit TV show Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Hero Turtles as it was then over here in England. Because there was like a ban on ninjas and nunchucks for reasons that I'm not going to get into. In season 3, episode 22, it was called Return of the Fly.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like Turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a whole episode in it last year.
Did we?
Yeah.
We did the trilogy?
Yep. 40th anniversary of the Ninja Turtles debut in comic books.
I don't remember doing that episode.
Really? Why do you think we watched all the movies?
I don't remember doing it.
Do you not? You've been serious?
Yeah.
Do you remember Jake Gyllenhaal being in a Spider-Man movie?
Yeah, you don't joke about it.
Oh, that's probably because it happened on it.
You bring it up so much now.
Do you remember watching The Nun 2?
Sadly.
No, I don't know why you've forgotten that we did a whole episode on Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990.
I like the Brian that forgets The Nun 2 and forgets Jake Gyllenhaal was in a Spider-Man movie.
Should have been in Spider-Man 2.
He was in Spider-Man 2.
The real Spider-Man 2. None of that Tom Holland stuff.
Diverged onto Spider-Man from The Fly.
Hey, you need a fly to catch the spider.
What?
You need a fly to catch the spider.
You need a spider to catch the fly.
What do you use as bait to get the spider? The fly. If you want to catch a spider, you're going to put a fly down to catch the spider. Are you thinking of the old woman that lives in a shoe? Or is that something different again? Is the old woman that lives in a shoe the old woman that ate a fly?
No,
They're
not.
two different old women.
I believe so.
So there's just like a whole genre of crazy old ladies out there.
Yeah, one lives in a shoe and one ate a fly.
These poor old women. Someone should get the authorities on it.
Yeah. Anyway, what were we saying about? Oh, you're on about I guess the impact of this film.
Yeah, I think the biggest cultural impact is probably that.
Episode of Ninja Turtles.
Yes, that one episode of Ninja Turtles. No, oh my god, I can't remember the band's name.
The Misfits.
Yes, have a song named after this film.
No.
But I'm more interested about that Turtles episode.
I guessed you were.
No, this is quite an odd film because I understand make a sequel, fine. But why decide to, I guess, set it in the future and then do nothing to show how the future's different?
Well, that's the thing. Films back then, if you notice, they weren't really set in the future, or it weren't like they were set anywhere exactly. If you remember stuff even in the Friday the 13th franchise, it'd be like so many years have passed, and you're thinking...
Oh, you're thinking about Tommy, how he's like from 8-year-old to 18?
Yeah.
Just a year later.
Yeah, stuff like that.
And then one of them doesn't even happen because Tommy's recast and he's 18 again.
Yeah, it's like the previous movie doesn't really matter. They just go like, here's an idea, let's roll with it. But no time actually passes.
Yeah, but it's just weird because they bring Vinnie Price back.
I'm Vincent Price.
And he's the same,
Yeah,
but black and white.
yeah. He's black and white now.
Yeah,
Which maybe that adds the age.
yeah, you think it's older.
So maybe Philippe's like 9 in this and they just cast a grown-up. Because the 9-year-old didn't have the reading comprehension of saying all the big words.
Oh, I'd love that.
Not that I remember any big words getting thrown about in this.
I don't remember much of this. There's the great scene though where, God, what is his name?
The Rat Man, whose hands and feet are changed to paws.
I haven't got the cast written down. I just comment on.
You know about Alan again?
Yeah.
The guy who doesn't know a guinea pig from a lab
I
rat.
love the scene.
I think that's going to become a new idiom for me. You're trusting him with that? He doesn't know a guinea pig from a lab rat.
He's a real Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has the great scene where he does crush that guinea pig because it goes through or lab rat. It goes through the machine and comes out.
Oh.
Because that was the thing with this one. They just went like, well, that came out too big. And you're like, oh, we've got to get this size thing under control. And then you're like, oh, we've got the size thing under control later on. And you're like, it's such a weird...
Yeah, because that's kind of like in reference to the sending the cat into the ether in the original.
Yeah, I think so. I also think it's then trying to explain why the fly head can be so big.
Yeah, maybe.
I always just think it kind of gets everything confused.
Yeah.
But I really don't know.
I think it's weird.
The crushing of the guinea pig's great. Or lab rat.
The Rat Man, whose hands and feet are changed to paws.
They fail to explain how the conscience transfers, don't they? In all of these.
Well, that's what's funny in the first one. He's just kind of like, oh no, I'm becoming more like the fly now. And it's like, okay.
What, if she got a fly's head?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just the horrors of it, I guess.
I think the first one truly is a masterpiece in how it's done.
British Time, I think it's great, but this one, it's just a bit of a rehash and nowhere near as good.
It doesn't have anything interesting to say because it was said in the first one.
Yeah.
I guess all they're doing is repeating, the dangers of science.
Yeah. But then
Yeah.
it don't really do that because at the end of it, it's just like, if no one minds me
Yeah.
saying this, we've cured him. He's
Yeah.
fine. Like,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Which I guess maybe sets up the third film.
Do you want to move on to the third?
Can do. I don't really have anything more to say on this one unless you have. Because like I said, it's just more of the same as
It
the
is more
first.
the same. It's an enjoyable film, but at the same time, you don't really get much out of it other
No.
than just if you like The Fly, you can watch this one, quite enjoy it, but it's not really anything.
No.
truly-
I don't get the same sort of buzz from watching this one.
No. So I'll move on to Curse of the Fly from 1965.
Yeah, let's just fly through it.
You're not God. You're not even human. You murdered those men, and you made me a murderer, too.
Directed by Don Sharp and written by Harry Spalding. There's no budget of gross I could find for this.
No, I
so
couldn't.
if anyone wants to look that up, they can, but
Or it was made for free, but they also didn't earn anything.
that would be amazing. Wow, look at all this we made for free. I kind of believe it looking at this one. And then it's like, oh, we didn't make anything. Anyway.
Well, it's likely the actors were wearing their actual clothes, because if I'm right, actors back then used to just wear their actual attire in the films, their actual wardrobe.
Well, it's quite easy. It's just, I'm wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Anyway, it stars George Baker as Martin Delambre, Carol Gray as Patricia Stanley, Brian Donnelly as Henry Delambre, Yvette Reese as Juan, Burt Wilk as Ty, Michael Graham as Albert Delambre. A lot of Delambres in this one.
Yeah, it's the curse of the fly.
Yeah.
You need that family name.
Jeremy Wilkin as Inspector Ronnet, Charles Carson, Inspector Churess. Good to hear that name again. Mary Manson as Judith Delambre, Rachel Kempton as Madame Fournier, The synopsis for this one: motorist Martin Delambre attempts to keep evidence of his family's bizarre experiments in teleportation hidden from his wife, who is hiding secrets of her own. This movie's great.
I have a lot of fun with this. I do think it's doing a little too much, but at the same time, I just love that they've took a big swing for it.
It has one of the craziest openings to a film I've ever seen. Just a woman pretty much jumping out of a window in her underwear, and then just finds this guy in a car, and he's just like, I'll give you a lift to wherever you're going, and she's like, I don't care, just take me anywhere.
And then they get married. Like a week later, maybe. If
and he was already married. Didn't he have to, like...
I think that's part of the twist that comes out, that he'd been married before, because she's like a creature now in the little basement of...
Yeah, she's like, oh, well, your previous wife, it doesn't matter.
This is nuts.
Bonkers, I love it.
This is also a British production.
Yeah, it's also black and white.
Annoyingly.
And there's no Vincent Price.
No Vinnie Price on this one.
I'm Vincent Price.
But I guess we've got our own little collection of celebrities in this.
Well, they are actors.
I know, but you know what I mean.
Right.
The director, Don Sharp, in 1966, he did The Brides of Fu Manchu, which was Christopher Lee. I forgot who else was in that. Somebody else from this is in that. I can't think who now. But he also did, in 1979, Bear Island, which is a war film with Donald Sutherland, was it?
Yeah, Donald Sutherland. I think Christopher Lee was in that. Because Christopher Lee's also in Dark Places. Also
is that this guy?
Yeah, also directed by Don Sharp.
And he directed some episodes of The Avengers, Stephen Peele Avengers, not I'm Captain America. I'm such a patriot, I wear the colours of my country Avengers.
I remember that one.
Yeah, the writer of this is Harry Spalding, who did... I couldn't find really much on what he'd written, but I know in the 80s this film was quite big for kids as an introductory horror film called The Watcher in the Woods, because it's like a PG horror.
Right.
And I know that's got its own particular fan base. Pretty sure I've seen it and weren't really all that bothered about it. But there's like some good lingering shots from a first-person perspective of the Watcher, or from the Watcher's perspective. But then in the cast we've got Brian Donlevy as Henry, as you said. He's from Kiss of Death, which is a big noir film, a jewellery heist film from 1947.
Yeah.
George Baker, who's playing Martin Delambre. He's got quite an interesting career because I haven't wrote much down, but he's in 3 Bond films, different characters.
Right.
You Only Live Twice, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and The Spy Who Loved Me, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Patricia Stanley, I couldn't find much with her in. She's in Island of Terror, which is a horror film. She's also in The Brides of Fu Manchu. And she's done just a bit of British TV, cult TV series, like The Saint and Avengers as well.
Yeah.
Yvette Reese as Wan in this, who's not Asian despite what she looks like in this film.
Yeah.
She's in the 1970 film Julius Caesar, and she's in 1964's Witchcraft.
Yeah.
But I couldn't see anything particularly big on her resume.
Yeah.
But Burt Kwok, if that's how you say it, as Ty, he's quite a big name.
Yeah.
I'm sure most British people will recognise him as Kato from the original Pink Panther films.
Yeah.
He's also in The Brides of Fu Manchu.
Nice.
But this is what gets interesting, and I'm wondering if he's the first person to do this. 2 Bond films in the same year.
Yeah.
Yep. In 1967 is in Casino Royale and You Only Live Twice.
Nice.
I'll admit, one of them is a spoof, but it's still a James Bond film.
Damn, You Only Live Twice.
But he also makes it into 3 Bond films, I guess, with Casino Royale, if you want to count that, because he's in Goldfinger as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I thought so. But we've already covered a film he's in, because he's in Rollerball.
Awesome.
I think he was a doctor in it. Not 100% now.
Like a year ago since we did Rollerball.
Probably is. But he's in Empire of the Sun, Christian Bale, like a war film.
Yeah.
It's a Spielberg-directed film.
Yeah.
But he's in Police Story 3 with Jackie Chan, Michelle Yeoh.
Great film.
But that's also goes by the name Super Cop, or Police Story 3 Super Cop.
Yeah.
And in 2001 he was in Kiss of the Dragon with Jet Li, which is a phenomenal action film.
Yeah.
And then most of the other people, they're kind of in British TV stuff, like Michael Graham. He's in a lot of British TV, famous TV. Saint, again, Return of the Saint, Randall and Hopkirk Deceased, Red Cap, Z-Cars, and Armchair Theatre. I mean, is this actually interesting? I don't know. I thought it was.
Someone might find it interesting.
Jeremy Wilkin, who plays Inspector Renee, more interesting, I think, because they've done voice acting in Captain Scarlet, and they're actually Virgil Tracy in Thunderbirds. And also they're in a James Bond. They're in The Spy Who Loved Me.
Awesome.
I'm guessing somewhere in production there was an overlap with Bond, or in the casting.
Or the fact it's a lot of British.
Yeah, maybe, but it just seems weird that there's a big overlap for The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
And then Charles Carson, who's playing Inspector Taras in this, he's in a lot, and I mean a lot of 30s and 40s films. In the 30s, he's doing maybe 6 films a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in the original adaptation of Moulin Rouge in 1952, and he's in The Dam Busters.
Yeah.
He's in that, and he was in an adaptation of Macbeth in the 60s.
Nice.
I just thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
This film takes some real big swings.
You don't say. From the opening, I knew this film was taking big swings.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I mean, firstly, I think it's quite bold of them to just do this and not involve a man with a fly head prosthetic.
Yeah.
Which some fans seem quite hurt about.
Yeah. I don't blame them. They kind of go into a Fly movie expecting man-fly hybrid.
But it's called Curse of the Fly, and it is a curse of the fly. Spoilers, because now the Delambre family are living with, I guess, defect genes from the teleporter because they have fast aging.
Yeah.
Which I figured out quite early on, and then it seems to be a big reveal towards the end.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I should have said, because it might be spoiling it.
I don't know.
I'll say spoilers, and then you can put that in before I say it.
Okay. I don't really feel you can spoil this movie, though.
What, you think they'll just have fun with it?
Yeah, it's just so weird.
Yeah, I mean, we've even got elements of the Island of Dr. Moreau in here, because with the mutant people now, where they're merged with animals.
To be fair, I feel like saying how it opens ruins how it opens for if you are going to watch this afterwards.
I mean, I wasn't sure I'd put the right film on.
That's happened quite a lot lately with My Blue Valentine, original Return of the Blob.
Beware.
Well, with the cat and the music.
Or whatever that was called. Son of
Beware
Blob.
the Blob.
Beware the Blob.
Yeah.
Beware the blob.
Yeah, Beware the Blob. That was weird.
Beware.
So it's happened quite a lot on these films where I've just thought, Brian's put the wrong film on again.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what I found. Some fans think this film has nothing to do with The Fly, which I find weird because, yeah, there's no fly monster, but it's the Delambre family.
Yeah, but maybe
They brought Charas back from the first film.
Maybe people weren't paying attention to the Delambre name.
Although they recast Charas.
Yeah, well, they recast Philip in the second one with an older man.
Well, they needed to.
With a man.
It was set in the future, and this must be set further in the future, so putting Charas in it seems weird because I'm pretty sure timeline-wise he'd actually be dead.
Yeah. How old is Charas in this?
I don't know.
How old are they supposed to be in this anyway? Because it's Martin Delambre from start and Henry Delambre. Henry the father?
Andre.
In this one.
Oh, in this one.
Henry was the father, wasn't he?
I think so.
And Martin is the son of. And then Henry's father.
And then there's a brother, though, isn't there?
Yeah, there's Albert.
Yeah.
Got quite a family.
Yeah.
Weird.
And apparently Price doesn't appear in this because he wasn't under contract. And they also didn't think the film needed him. I mean, the cheat to think you don't even need Price in your movie.
I'm Vincent Price.
The second movie banked on him. They were thinking, we don't need anything but Vinnie Price to make a film.
I'm Vincent Price.
Well, look what happened with this one. People thought, no Vincent Price, but at least we can get a Flyman hybrid.
Yeah, maybe.
Joke's on them, I guess.
Yeah. Also, this film didn't get a release after its cinema release in '65 until, for home release, that is, until 2007 on DVD.
Yeah.
Where it was included in the Fly collection, which was the original trilogy of films together, with a fourth disc of bonus features.
I was going to say it had a fourth disc of bonus features, because when I saw it, I thought, saw it and it just said a 4-disc collection. I was thinking...
the 80s one's in there.
I thought, why would it put the 80s one in there, but not the 80s sequel one in there? And I thought it was a bonus disc, and I was like,
Claude Rains was attached to play Henry at one point. He was originally the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
I deem he still might be in here and we didn't see him. And like the previous two Fly films, this was also a double feature and was the top half to Devils of Darkness.
Nice.
And apparently the famous line, help me, is still said in this, which I don't feel is the actual famous line, or for me it wasn't.
No,
it wasn't the standout line for me in the original Fly.
It's a funny line. Really.
It was the little monologue by Vincent Price in the original.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think this is actually saying anything new. Unlike, the dangers of science.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they're still fascinated by the teleporter.
Yeah, and they're still messing up with it.
I understand the teleporter is like a big part of what happens, but instead of becoming a teleporter for getting something from A to B, they seem very fascinated with, merging DNA.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff, as opposed to getting things from A to B and adding a new element.
Yeah, it was a bit odd.
Again, they're taking some big swings in here. We've got this weird romance story with the marriage and the secrets.
Yeah. I think I enjoyed that more than I did the actual teleporter side of the story. I don't really remember much of the Delambre side. I remember more of Patricia's side of things.
I do think, though, the people in this family would definitely know the difference between a lab rat and a guinea pig, though.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
The Rat Man, whose hands and feet are changed to paws.
They're all a step above Alan. But I guess for those...
No one wants to be like Alan.
But I think once a plot twist reveals in the sequel, they'll probably realise that Alan had other things on his mind, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's only fair for Alan to make some mistakes, I guess. Like what we see in the film might be the only times he made that mistake.
Yeah, maybe.
It'd be funny if that mistake was supposed to be canon to the film's plot somehow.
Obviously, I can see how that would work.
Yeah, I know.
Due to the only twist I feel we haven't revealed from that one.
Yeah.
Speaking of that film, there is a picture from that film which appears in this film.
Oh, yeah.
It's a picture of Philippe with the fly head.
From the second film.
Yeah. And they say it's Andre from the first film.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they got that picture of either of them because no one took a picture of them.
I bet it's the same person that knew what to write on that blackboard.
Get me a movie about that guy. I bet it's interesting. He has all the information, gets it all rewrote on that blackboard, gets a picture of Philippe as the fly.
What if the plot twist was that it's not a full-grown person? The fly that we thought Charras kills at the end of the original The Fly is still alive, and it's slowly growing in size.
No.
I found it funny that they thought they were doing a twist with the rapid aging thing in this, because to me they made it quite obvious early on, and I can't remember what gave it away. I think we see him having to inject early on, which is something they have to do to slow their process down. Yeah. I even wrote on my notes, they're aging quickly and require injections now. And then I've put, do I spoil this? Yes, I do. Past me, I do spoil this.
You need to write more messages to yourself like that. All Ron, you just read the questions you have while watching the film, and then it's just like, yes, I did. No, I didn't.
I put Charras' recast. Guess he had to be, because how far in the future are we now?
Yeah, but when you've got rapidly aging, like, how old are they?
I'm also pretty sure chloroform doesn't work like it did in this film.
You don't know how chloroform works.
I might know more than you think. Well, he just puts it on the rag and, like, throws it through the door.
Yeah.
And then they just seem instantly passed out. They open the door and drag him out.
Well, I'm guessing he ran over there and gave it a sniff to see what it was and fell over.
I don't think it works that way. All that fast.
Well, no, but chloroform usually in films works like they smell it and then they fall over.
Yeah, I guess, but even then, you know, there's nothing displaying them smell it. They could have had a scene where they smell it. Then we'd know that they smelled it.
You want it to cut inside the room with the guy.
Yeah.
He just runs over to
But
it.
I guess they were trying to keep what was in there secret to the audience at that time.
Yeah, well...
I just disagree with that scene. They could have shot a trank gun or something, right?
Gas the chamber.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the original idea and it's a bit too dark.
I agree. Too dark.
What was black and white?
But now in colour. Is this a riddle?
No.
Ah.
What once was in colour but now black and white?
The Fly sequel.
Fly trilogy. What a great trilogy it is.
I still think this is quite a fun ride despite the negative reviews it has.
Yeah. I might try and...
doing some interesting things.
I might try and suggest you, and people go like, what's the best film trilogy? I might just try and throw this in there now.
So, like, as most sequels, that second one's a bit middling, but it's worth it for the concluding chapter.
Yeah. No one brings it up. Move over Lord of the Rings. Here comes the fly.
Oh, that's what the fourth one should be called.
What, move over Lord of the Rings? Here comes the fly.
No, just Here Comes the Fly.
I really like the long title. Move over Lord of the Rings.
That's in parentheses.
Yeah, here comes the fly. Move over Lord of the Rings. Here comes the fly.
I don't really have much else to say on this unless you do.
No, not really. Not that it's bad or anything.
No.
Like that. It's just one of them. It's an enjoyable film. It passed the time.
I think it's on YouTube, right?
Yeah, we watched this on YouTube.
Yeah.
It was great. So for that,
there's a slew of like old films on YouTube. It's
yeah,
great.
Yeah, I kind of love it more for the fact it was just there.
Maybe we should just steer this podcast into what films are on YouTube for free that maybe shouldn't or should be there.
Yeah. Thing is, though, we might do that. YouTube just goes off. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. He shouldn't really be on here. Just start removing them.
Shall I move us along then?
Yeah.
Shall I do a big 20-year time jump?
Yeah, go.
More than that, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Near 25. So now we're on to The Fly 2, 1989.
Something odd is happening to me, and I don't know what it is.
Which I could have swore was also called Son of the Fly, but I've not seen anything of it in the trivia or anything.
I was going to say that was the subtitle, but not subtitle.
The tagline.
Yeah, but it weren't. That was like Father Light. So.
All right. Well, that implies it. Anyway, The Fly 2, 1989, made on a budget of $12.5 million, according to IMDb, and grossing $38,903,130, according to IMDb. Directed by Chris Wallace, written by Mick Garris, Jim Wheat, Ken Wheat, Frank Darabont, and still credited for based on the short story is George Langeland from his original Playboy published short story. The synopsis, as IMDb has it, is the almost human son of Brundlefly, in quotes, like the Fly was on Return of the Fly, searches for a cure to his mutated genes while being monitored by a nefarious corporation that wishes to continue his father's experiments. It stars Eric Stoltz as Marty McFly. Sorry, my bad. Martin Brundle. Daphne Zuniga as Beth Logan. Lee Richardson as Anton Bartok. And returning, John Getz as Stathis Borans. Frank C. Turner as Dr. Shepard, and Mary Lee as Dr. Janeway, and Gary Chalk as Scorby. And I'm forgetting, they recast Veronica. She's now played by Saffron Henderson.
Such a small scene.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this?
I actually really like this one.
I had a lot of fun with this. There's a certain energy to it that I just really, really like.
Yeah. I don't know if it was better than I expected or what. It was kind of what I expected, but executed kind of better than I thought. I really don't know. Can't explain what I mean.
I didn't really know what to expect, but I feel it was definitely better than I thought. But like I said, Chris Wallace was the director on this, and he did the special effects for The Fly.
Yeah.
The Goldblum, The Fly, obviously. Yeah. But he also did effects for Enemy of Mine, Gremlins, Virtuosity. I think I said this last week.
Yeah.
He also did The Vagrant, which is a film I'd not heard of, actually, until I was looking him up, with Paxton and Ironside.
No, yeah.
That's another film he actually directs from 1992 with Bill Paxton and, what is Ironside's first name?
Michael.
That's him. Mickey Ironside. And I found the writers more interesting, actually, when I looked them up.
Yeah?
Yeah, because Mark Garris wrote Critters 2.
Yeah.
Created She-Wolf of London, which is like an 80s werewolf, or was it 90s, like werewolf series?
Yeah.
I've been wanting to watch that for a while, because I've come across it before, but I can't think how.
Yeah.
He wrote an 80s cult film, Batteries Not Included.
Yep.
And directed The Making of the Thing in 1982, which was the making of John Carpenter's The Thing. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
The writers, I believe these are brothers, Jim Wheat and Ken Wheat. They basically share the same credits, but they wrote the first of the Riddick trilogy, Pitch Black.
Yep.
They did The Birds 2, Land's End.
Yeah.
It Came from Outer Space 2, so they love sequels.
Yep.
They also did Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, which I'm not a big fan of, and they also did Ewoks, The Battle of Endor, which is apparently not very good.
No.
Or is it good?
No, it's not.
Frank Darabont, I don't believe, needs really any introduction. If there's a Stephen King adaptation and you like it, he probably did it.
Also, Frank Darabont.
Yeah.
He did the Blob remake.
Yeah, and he made The Walking Dead famous because he did the only good season.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
And then they fired him.
Did he do the second one as well? And then
He might have, but I think they fired him
during
or before, but his name still had to be attached.
Yeah.
For legality or something.
Yeah.
But no, I just found the writers and the director to be quite interested on this.
Yeah.
Anyway, your thoughts?
I said my thoughts. I really liked it.
Okay. I mean, I really liked it. That's why we're discussing it as well.
Alright, we're done here. See you next week.
But no, like there's things in this that I particularly liked. Like the opening scene, there's the helicopter, but you hear like a buzzing of a fly before you see it, and they incorporate it in.
Yeah, it's great.
They recreate the nightmare sequence from the first film with the maggot, but this time it looks a little different, and they reshot that with the recasting. Sadly, I've even wrote it feels like they're merging Return of and Curse of the Fly, and it's because they kind of have. I guess we'll get into that as we talk about the plot.
Yeah.
I've even commented it is certainly well directed. Yeah. Because it is.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's shot really well.
Yeah. Speaking of Wallace, because we've said he directed it and did some other stuff.
Yeah.
I think part of the trivia from last week when it mentioned how he turned down Gremlins 2, I think it was to do this.
I've wrote that book in my trivia section towards this.
I just wanted to get that out now because this is 89, Gremlins 2 is 1990.
Yeah.
I think the years match up more for that than the first one.
Yeah, I think so. I wrote it in my notes next to that piece of trivia that it seems a little contradictory. I've wrote Big Goofy Helmet because when we see young Martin running around in that little science lab, he's got this big goofy helmet on, but I don't think they really explain why.
They're just monitoring him.
Oh, they were using it to film, weren't they?
Yeah.
It'd be a GoPro now, wouldn't it? Or a body cam or something. Yeah. I also wrote that damn dog scene, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's sad, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Like people going about dog deaths in film.
This is one of my worst.
Yeah.
Well, not so much the death, actually, because it's like a mercy killing for the dog, but what happened to it that leads to its death. And just before it dies, it's like, damn, that's so sad.
Yeah.
It's up there with Synchronic for saddest dog deaths I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I thought, these teleporter pods have a funny sound effect, don't they? A little buzzy. They make buzzing noises too. I put the meet cute isn't all that fun. For when Martin meets
Beth.
Yes. Not a fun meet cute. Kind of a forgettable meet cute.
I suppose. But I don't think that's what they were aiming for, was it?
Well, they play like a lot of rom-com teen tropes through this as a subplot, I guess. And
I kind of like
the meet cute should be... Yeah, but the meet cute should be memorable in some way, charming, and it's not. And I know it's not because I was falling asleep when I first watched this because I weren't very well or something. I can't remember. So I rewatched it to make sure. And yeah, it's more clear in my head now, and I got to make some good notes because I was falling asleep that I couldn't even make notes particularly well the first time.
Right.
So I've watched this film twice.
Yeah.
The second time with more clarity and focus on making notes.
Yeah.
And I now can't even recall what that meet cute is.
No.
And don't say, well, they meet each other. That's the whole point of a meet cute.
I think Martin's more awkward and socially distant.
He's not really been socialised, has he? He's been kept in a lab all his life, but he rapidly grows because I think his birth is 7 months after the ending that we see in. Although I don't think the film actually says that anyway. so I don't know where that knowledge comes from. But I even wrote, though, he's not as charming as his father.
And I don't think he's supposed to be. I think he is supposed to be a lot more awkward.
But I mentioned that Stathis comes back in this.
He's
for a little
great.
scene. Phenomenal. I've even wrote some quotes. Well, I wrote a couple lines.
Quotes.
Beth says to him, because they go to him for help, Beth says, "Where's your compassion?" And Stathis replies, "It cost me an arm and a leg."
Yeah, I love it.
I also wrote that I like that Martin takes a cocoon-like stasis.
Yeah, but it's also a bit weird.
Well, it's better than him becoming a butterfly.
Yeah.
Or a moth.
Yeah, true.
Because the hatching scene when he's coming out of that's really pretty cool.
Yeah, I quite like the development on him.
Yeah. I don't think it's as fun or interesting to see as what the Fly is, though, with Goldblum.
For me, I thought it was a bit creepier.
Yeah.
Because he just seemed like a normal kid.
Don't know.
It was just really... Yeah, but he didn't really do anything to put himself in that situation.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? So it kind of feels a bit more tragic for him having such a life.
Oh, in a way, yeah, more tragic. But I don't think it's as interesting or as disturbing. There's a disturbance, I think, that comes from the Goldblum transformation as you slowly see it develop. And I think that comes from what's...
I feel it's a bit more haunting for him.
I'm not on about for the character, though. I'm on about for the audience.
I'm just saying, well, even then, I think it's a lot creepier to watch than Goldblum. Goldblum, it's more like you're fascinated by what's
but you're also quite saddened by it. And, like, part of it's a little gross.
Yeah, but for Martin, I feel like it's kind of creepy and kind of scary what's happening, even as an audience, like where he's going with
I only think, yes, if you're on Martin's side, well, I'm on Martin's side, but I don't particularly care for it.
I really love the motel scene. Kind of just staring at that, the what do you call it? Fly light. Weird, I had named the damn zapper thing before that.
I know what you mean. Mosquito lamps or solar insect killer. Bug zapper.
Yeah, I really like that scene where he's just staring at you and she's like, "What are you looking at?" And he's just like, "That, I think you find it quite enticing," or sort of thing. And she's like, "Oh."
I don't really remember that.
Great, I love it. And then you get him just like laid on the couch sitting at the window and there's that light just on him.
Yeah.
It's a really creepy image. Yeah, that's probably one of my favourite parts.
Also, I was really surprised by this. It's the longest of the Fly movies.
Yeah.
It's only an hour 45.
Yeah. If you asked me which one was the longest, I'd have probably gone with either one of the first ones.
For me, and I'm not saying it feels like a long time, but just the amount of stuff that happens in it, I would have thought the Goldblum one.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I would have put that down as the longest.
Yeah.
Just in terms of what I remember happening and how it happens. But every time I watch it, I'm always surprised how fast it rattles by.
With this one, it has a lot happening.
Yeah.
And I think it juggles all that well in comparison to the other sequels. Yeah. I really like this one.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what I was expecting, but I had more fun from it than I probably thought I would have.
Yeah, and it's one of them sequels where they don't really redo the first one. They kind of just
build on it.
Yeah, and do their own thing, and it feels like a different genre.
Yeah. I quite like
it, and I really, really like sequels like that.
Recreating that dream sequence, I think, is a great way to go about it, because a lot of people remember that dream sequence from Veronica's section in the first film. So
yeah. Oddly, I feel like it's more memorable this time watching it than it has been any other time, because I just feel like I keep reading about it and I think like, it's not really that, is it?
Well, apparently they wanted Gina Davis to return and she turned it down.
Yeah.
Because she didn't like that scene originally, so she didn't want to have to do it again.
Yeah.
So when they recast Veronica with Saffron Henderson, this is what you would expect. They cast her because of her likeness to Gina Davis.
No way.
That's what you would want, though, right?
Yeah.
Also, do you recognise her at all?
She did a lot of voice work, alright.
Yeah, but she's in Jason Takes Manhattan, Friday the 13th, Part 8.
Yeah. I can't remember if she was.
She was also in a couple episodes of TMNT, Next Mutation.
Yeah, she's, I
never wrote who she was.
Something like Vampy or just something like that. But she's only the voice of, but it's actually played by an actress.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I thought she...
But yeah, she does a lot of voice acting. Like, I wrote down the ones I was most amazed by.
I just remembered one. Have you got Black Widow from the Punisher game?
I do. I was saving that to last.
Also Manucci in that as well.
Yes, I left that to last.
Sorry. It's the only one I remembered.
She's in Dragon Ball, Double Dragon, RoboCop Alpha Commando, Roswell Conspiracies, which is a great little show worth checking out if no one's ever heard of that. It's animated, obviously, but really good. Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd Century, which I remember really liking. She's also in 2 episodes of X-Men Evolution.
Yeah, Callisto.
Yes.
I'm not an X-Men fan.
And she's also in Death Note, Ghost in the Shell. I don't know if I've got the title right for this. Ghost in the Shell, SAC Second Gig Individual 11.
I don't know.
Oh, and she's in King Kong, the animated series, which I forgot had one to the Peter Jackson King Kong.
Oh, yeah.
I think when I'd seen images of it, I would think, oh, I think I've seen this, but I probably never watched much of it.
No.
Also, Scorby, he's like the security guy, Gary Chalk.
Yeah.
He calls Martin Marty on occasion.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wrote that Marty McFly when I said Eric Stoltz, didn't I?
Yeah.
That's a joke because he was originally Marty McFly for Back to the Future, but they didn't like what he was doing,
No.
so they got rid of him. I believe you can actually find footage of him in the film.
Yeah.
Well, of his takes, anyway.
Yeah.
Also, there'd been a change in management at Fox between this film and The Fly. Obviously, the Goldblum, The Fly now.
Yeah.
So this sequel had a new head at Fox. Hadn't even seen the previous film.
No.
Director Chris Wallace claims that they wanted the film to explore themes of defying destiny and what it means to be a son, but the Fox executives ordered them to ditch the existential themes and make the film a standard gory movie that teens could enjoy on their date.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks would later remark that he had never seen so much studio interference on a movie before. I'd love to see what he'd think about some of these more modern films now where there's a lot of studio interference.
Yeah.
There's a used deleted scene of Jeff Goldblum,
Yeah.
which I quite liked, re-edited, and
Yeah.
they dubbed. It sounds like Gina Davis was originally the audio in that, and they dubbed over with Saffron Henderson,
Yeah.
if I've read that right. I also saw that Stoltz had turned down this role originally.
Yeah.
He didn't like the script. After the rewrites, he accepted,
Yeah.
because apparently the role was written for him in mind.
Yeah.
And then it says he very much got into character and wanted to be called by his character's name and had his character's name written on the back of his chair.
Yeah.
Did you see who also turned down this role?
I saw about 3 other names. I think there were.
I got Keanu Reeves,
Yeah.
turned it down. But Josh Brolin said that he auditioned and blew his audition
Yeah.
because he was overcommitting.
Yeah.
Apparently he started like writhing around and like,
Yeah. Convulsing.
and drooling or
Yeah.
something. Like he was having a seizure and he thought he'd done really well, but it turns out no, he hadn't.
Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, and then obviously he kind of gets to do something similar, I guess, in Men in Black.
Yeah.
Which I think that also said.
Yeah.
Also, Gary Chalk, who I said was Scorby, I didn't know this. He was a comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just really surprised by that. And locals among the crew who knew him were concerned about his playing a serious role. But yeah, apparently Gary Chalk was seen as too comedic to play a serious role.
Yeah.
However, the director Wallace, had no idea of Chalk's comedy background and thought he played the role perfectly. Chalk would later acclaim for his serious and occasionally comedic performances as the voice of Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal in various Transformers cartoons, which I had no idea about.
No. Even when I looked him up, I kind of forgot.
This came up in the trivia, but I'm a little gutted because I looked it up myself. Quite early in the film, you see somebody reading a book or the book's left open while they're doing something else.
Yeah.
That book is The Shape of Rage.
Yeah.
Have you seen this then?
It's about Cronenberg.
Yeah, it's an anthology of writings of Cronenberg's films, a study of his films. And I thought, oh, kind of want this book. I bet there's loads that would do it now. But I thought, what a cool little Easter egg to put in.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that somebody had put a book together and written so much about Cronenberg's films by this point already in time.
Yeah.
But that shows, I think, his actual power in the film industry amongst people.
Yeah.
They had to rebuild the telepods,
Yeah.
which are the teleportation things in it. Apparently the originals were destroyed.
Yeah. Even in the movie.
Yeah.
So the deleted scene about why they can't really get the telepod working.
Yeah.
Because Stathis had took the operating
Yeah.
disc. So Stathis again being the hero of the movie.
Yeah.
What a guy. He's just great, isn't he?
Yeah. Strangely, I was quite surprised about this. Cronenberg didn't like this film.
No.
And Brooks remained as an uncredited producer.
Yeah.
And it was his idea for the face melting scene.
Yeah. And Brooks was the reason that Daphne Zuniga was cast as well. Because she was in Spaceballs.
Yeah, she was Princess Vesper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Face melting scenes are pretty fun.
Yeah, it was.
There's another scene not Wallace came up with when he got to set as well.
Oh, I've got a little bit about that.
The elevator.
Yeah, because this movie originally by the MPAA was given an X rating.
Yeah.
Wallace then appealed that rating.
Yeah.
And it became an R rated, which is what it is now.
Yeah.
He made no changes.
No.
And it was because of the head crushing scene with the elevator.
Yeah.
Which
Wallace,
I'll let you say.
Wallace came up with when he saw it on set.
Yeah.
He pretty much had crushed someone's head in that when he saw it. Yeah, the elevator was used to move their heavy props and things like that about on set.
But yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool improv.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good scene.
That end scene, to be fair, is really good.
Yeah. Did you know Bartok was inspired by Wayland Yutani?
Yeah, kind of obvious.
Which is the company behind Alien and Aliens.
Yeah.
In the Alien universe. And in this, we've got Bartok Industries, which apparently gave Seth the parts to make the pods in the original.
Yeah.
And that apparently was an idea from 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
In this, to have Bartok be like Wayland. which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, probably one of the better ideas.
Yeah,
there.
yeah. And you know how on last week's episode when we discussed The Fly, they'd done like a title shot that Cronenberg wanted to keep?
Yeah.
In this, the teaser trailer had no imagery apparently.
Yeah.
And it was Kirstie Alley voicing a woman reading a heart monitor, which is presumed to be Veronica.
Yeah.
When it says presumed to be Veronica, I think it means the heart reading belongs to someone who's presumed to be Veronica.
Yeah.
I wanted to find the teaser to listen to it and forgot. So maybe you can add it here.
Doctor, talk to me!
This can't be.
What's wrong? What's wrong with my baby?
I thought you were going to mention the title card for this is the one they originally had for The Fly.
Ah, right. No, I didn't know that. I didn't see that.
Because The Fly, they used the one from the trailer for that.
Yeah.
Cronenberg's like, I like that. I want that one. And this one uses that. It's like the green light.
Did you see that Wallace received a letter of thanks for this film?
No.
Yeah. From a German man who owned a chain of German cinemas.
Yeah, I did. Because apparently his film
apparently
did really well in Germany.
Yeah. Apparently it saved his chain of cinemas, which I thought was pretty cool. There's a deleted scene with the production designer as well in this, Michael F. Bolton.
Yeah, there's quite a few deleted scenes in this, but I didn't really write any of them down.
Yeah, this you would have seen him when they stop at a snack bar. Something would have transpired and Martin would have vomited his like acidy stuff on this window and made a disruption, and then a guy would come out of the eatery nearby, and it was production designer, sorry.
Right.
I mean, just the special effects themselves are pretty good. And
Yeah. Christopher Wallace kind of stayed involved in the effects
Yeah.
side of things, isn't he?
I think that comes from being in that side of the industry. You want to
Yeah.
make sure it's right
Yeah.
because it's his company, isn't it, doing
Yeah,
the
yeah.
special effects. So
why not?
did you have this though? That Sam Raimi was the original choice to direct after the success of his horror flick Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, I did. Because apparently Ted Raimi
Yeah, him and his
wrote
brother Ted Raimi.
a script that was apparently too funny.
I put no surprise they got what they should have expected.
Yeah.
In terms of it being funny, I mean.
Yeah.
Did you see that sound effects of when Baby Martin's crying in the opening scene is borrowed from an 88 film called Tin Toy? It was one of Pixar's first animated shorts.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. Then I guess then like my next stuff, it's more to do with an alternate ending and what this film could have been.
Yeah.
If you've got that, you can
No,
start us off. No?
well, I've got a few of what this film could have been.
Yeah, let's go through them then if you want. Or would you rather me get the alternate ending?
Do the alternate ending one.
Okay. Apparently an alternate ending had been filmed but deleted, which Beth joins Martin outside the boathouse with a plate of food and sits next to Martin and asks how he feels, which he replies he is feeling a lot better, and a fly lands on the plate of food. This deleted ending was added at the studio's insistence to let the audience know Martin had won his happy ending, but Chris Wallace and the crew hated this tacked-on scene and were happy when test audiences also despised it. So the Fox executives agreed to drop it from the film. I mean, I don't understand why they would even ask for that scene.
No.
The way it ends is perfectly fine. It seemed. Did you see that the original writer Mick Garris's script was about Veronica being convinced not to abort her baby by a religious cult?
Yeah.
Do you have more on that?
Something about Martin learned he could talk to bugs, and there were some children that were also like deformed or weird or something, and Martin helped rescue them and get them away from the cult. It was something like that one.
Yeah, I've got Veronica being convinced not to abort her baby by a religious cult who would keep and raise Martin after he was born. The rapidly aging Martin is joined by a group of kids with their own unique abilities or deformities, and Martin could discover he could communicate with insects and would lead the kids to escape the cult and live in the outskirts of LA. Apparently the premise was abandoned for being too strange and family-friendly.
Strange, yes, but it doesn't sound family-friendly to me.
It makes you wonder what was in it. I'm guessing not much.
That's just it.
Another draft included Bartok scientists using cloning technology to resurrect Seth Brundle. Do you see that one?
Yeah, I saw that one.
But he was still stuck as Brundlefly at first, and would discover that his son Martin, who was originally meant to be a child teenager throughout the film, could communicate with him.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything particularly interesting about the fact that he could communicate with him.
No. And then Darabont was brought on.
Yeah, because Chris Wallace disliked that version of the story and thought it was too odd of a premise to the point where he came off like a family-friendly horror film about a boy and his bug monster. He threatened to walk off the project if the script wasn't changed. And that's when Frank Darabont came in.
Yeah, and it was like not long before a writer's strike or something, so they didn't really have much to go on there.
Yeah. Apparently, though, I'm guessing this was the first one, or this is just another plot one as well. In the 90s, Gina Davis was reportedly involved with an alternate sequel to The Fly, to be directed by her then-husband Rennie Harlin.
Yeah.
Titled Flies.
Yeah.
The script was said to feature a story where Veronica does not die in childbirth and instead gives birth to twin boys. You see that?
Yeah. I'm guessing that was like a 90s one, which just ignores this entirely.
Yeah. I've also got an early treatment for a sequel written by Tim Lucas involved Veronica dealing with the evils of the Bartok company. Brundle's consciousness had somehow survived with the telepod computer, and the Bartok scientists had enslaved him and were using him to develop the system for cloning purposes. So I think that's kind of an overlap with one of the others I read about the cloning.
Yeah.
Brundle becomes able to communicate with Veronica through the computer, and he eventually takes control of the Bartok complex's security systems to gruesomely attack the villains. Eventually, Veronica frees Brundle by conspiring with him to reintegrate a non-contaminated version of his original body. Apparently, Cronenberg endorsed the concept at the time. Gina Davis was open to doing a sequel and only pulled out of The Fly 2, 89, because of her character was being killed off in the opening scene, while Goldblum was not, although he was okay with the cameo, and this treatment reflects that. However, a later treatment written by Jim Wheat and Ken Wheat was used as the basis for the final script, which we've already mentioned. Did you see that this film does have a sequel?
In comic book form?
Yes.
Yeah.
And quite recent, or a lot more recent than I expected.
2000 and something, isn't it?
2015.
2015. I was going to say 2007.
It's called The Fly Outbreak, and it's set years later, and Martin is trying to cure the Bartok monster.
It was The Fly Outbreak. I was trying to think what it was called, but yeah.
But I think there's a lot of cool things in this. I quite like the final showdown. I'm not sure if I'm happy with the Martin Fly or Marty Fly, whatever you want to call it, design.
I'm a bit...
It's a really good... It's the head, I think, for me.
Yeah, it's such a great looking...
It's very monstrous looking, though.
Yeah, and I think that's the idea.
Because it's a little more human than Fly, in a way. So I think it's part of the genetic coding thing again, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not terrible.
No.
But I think it looks really good, this film.
I was curious.
And not just the effects work, but the actual cinematography of it, I think, holds up really well.
So that Robin Bidjian?
I never got his name.
Yeah, Robin Bidjian, and he worked on the first two Hellraiser movies.
Right.
And Nightbreed.
Oh, Nightbreed's a great one.
Yeah, I think they're all pretty solid, them three, and this included as well. I think that's four
That's
pretty
4
good
for 4.
films. I know. They're the ones I made note of.
Yeah.
I know he worked on some other stuff. But
who's the music on this? Because I never made note of them.
It was Christopher Young, who we've already covered one of his, because I thought it was funny because we watched the film and then we watched another film in cinema last year, which I knew him for mainly, which is Spider-Man 3.
Ah, right,
The film that we've covered is Rapid Fire, Brandon Lee movie. But yeah, he's a good composer, and he did the first two Hellraisers as well.
Right, okay.
He did Ghost Rider as well, same year as Spider-Man 3.
Yes, I remember that now you said it.
Yeah, he's a good composer.
But yeah, the music on this was good. Well, the music on the first Fly is great, isn't it? By, is it Howard Shore?
Yeah, Howard Shore.
Yeah, I'm not very good with music.
Neither am I. I just look them up and end up.
I can recognise the sound, you know, like a certain composer's sound.
Yeah.
Style, I guess, but...
Yeah, I know what you mean. Christopher Young's got a certain style.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm able to identify it yet. Maybe if I watched these films close together, I'd get what it is.
Maybe. He did Species as well.
Oh, I love Species. I'd like to cover that on.
And he did Deliver Us from Evil and Sinister.
Alright. Species is getting a 4K release this year.
Yeah.
Or with a steelbook, I think. I can't remember where from. It looks great though, well worth looking up. Species is great sci-fi horror.
It's alright.
I love it. It's incredible.
I don't love it.
I do.
I love the sequel.
Awakening.
I'm going to say any of them, but yeah.
But I think of all the Fly sequels, this is my favourite.
Definitely.
I was certain you were going to no, it's Curse of.
I could happily say Curse of the Fly, just because I Curse of the Fly really isn't what I expected at all. Like from the opening as well, it's just like, wow, this isn't anything what I expected.
In a good way though as well, right?
Kinda. I had a lot of fun just watching it and thinking, wow, this just isn't what I expected.
Well, that's what we watch films for anyway, for fun.
I mean, like, funny more than fun.
I know, but still fun. It's entertaining, isn't it? And that's all you want. You want the entertainment.
But this one, like I said already, it's kind of what I expected, but it's kind of better executed than I expected.
Yeah. I forgot to tell you, I had a weird experience when I rewatched this.
Deja vu?
It's a phenomenon known as deja vu.
I guess. When I first watched it, I was thinking, Stoltz seems a little old for a teenager.
Yeah.
Rewatched it, and I was like, Stoltz seems really young in this. I have no idea what happened.
Maybe it's because you remember him near the end of the movie where he kind of like looking like a bit of an old dude.
Yeah,
and all the prosthetic.
I like the ending to this.
Oh, yeah.
I think the end is great.
Yeah.
And it's also foreshadowed early on in the film, but I won't say how.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest, when I rewatched it, I didn't really have to rewatch it. I'd kind of remembered everything.
Right.
I just was quite tired and weren't sure I'd actually got it all, and I never made notes because I was so tired.
Not half of it to the
So-
dream.
Yeah. Don't we all just dream about Eric Stoltz becoming a fly? I thought everyone did. Is that not a normal thing to dream about?
I will say, after years of knowing about this sequel, I'm glad I watched it.
Yes. I'm not sure how long I've known about this film's existence and just never seen
I
it.
think the reason why I never watched it, because I always just find like, oh yeah, there's The Fly too.
Yeah.
I haven't watched The Fly recently.
But if you like the Goldblum adaptation,
Yeah.
well, it's not the Goldblum adaptation, the Cronenberg adaptation, I guess,
Yeah.
isn't it? I think you'll have some fun with this one, right?
Or I hope you would. Or if you've watched through the Fly franchise, this actually looks like a great one.
If you've seen Back to the Future and you don't like Marty McFly, come here and watch Martin Fly.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts? Favourite scene? Or
Oh, I'm just trying to think of favourite scenes. I'm torn now between what I actually think is a good scene and what I thought is just, wow, that came out of nowhere. So I'll go from both. So I've said both a lot already.
Woman in underwear climbing through window.
Jumping through.
I'm pretty sure she's climbing through.
Jumps,
It's not a jump.
smashed through and lands
I
on
don't
the
remember
floor.
any glass smashing.
She smashes through a window in her underwear.
I remember her
And she is
climbing
not
through a
cut
window.
at all. The glass smashes.
Okay.
So she either smashes a window and climbs out. Or
She doesn't jump through. That's
in
for
my
sure.
mind, she definitely jumps.
I disagree. If anybody does watch Curse of the Fly,
Be
please get in touch with
disappointed.
us on our socials, that linked here, and let us know if she jumps through or climbs through.
Put a vote on it.
That won't prove anything. They can vote and not have seen it.
It's on YouTube. They should go have a look.
They should definitely go have a look. I don't think it would be morally right to link the film,
no.
but we can definitely say that it's on YouTube.
Anyway, my other favourite scene is definitely where he's just staring at the bug zapper.
Yeah.
I just love that scene. It's a strange one to love, but I do love it.
One of my favourite
If it's
scenes.
not that, it's definitely status. John Getz just
Yeah.
saying, I gave an arm and a leg.
That's where I was going. And I think my other favourite scene comes from Curse of the Fly, and I guess it's the reveal to the audience of the fast aging
Oh, yeah.
towards the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the back of the car.
Yes. It's so funny. Because I said what it's going to be when they get back there, and it was, and it just made it even funnier to me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good scenes, to be honest, in The Fly too.
Do you know what's funny? Neither of us are the favourite scene from Return of the Fly.
It's just kind of bland and forgettable, right?
I don't know if I said, but I did like that fly head, but it was a bit too big.
Oh, yeah.
But they did mention about how things seem to grow through that.
Yeah. So they kind of wrote around it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but then they said
Do you think that line was
the
added
thing is
just
that
because
they
of that?
said they fixed that.
Yeah, but that
problem.
was with one animal.
True. You saying the fly.
I'm saying it confused it again when he went in there with it.
Right.
I still don't particularly like how the computers work in this with the teleport. They seem to have too much knowledge,
Yeah.
as if they're a consciousness of some sort.
Yeah. Oddly, I feel the computer was dumbed down in this one, right? In comparison to Seth's computer.
I
Seth's
think-
computer felt like full-on AI technology.
Yeah.
That he should have just made money from that.
Yeah, because he was asking it questions and it's replying with answers. It's like, if this can do this,
Yeah.
you've clearly put some sort of input in here for it to do this. Like, you can work it out yourself.
Yeah. He had AI technology.
Like,
It was
as good
linked to
as.
some sort of.
Yeah,
I don't know what, but
a smarter man. One that wouldn't have become half fly.
it was just status.
You think that yuppie's smarter than Seth?
Yeah.
God damn.
He's great.
But no, I like how the Fly 2 also merged the plots
Yeah.
from Fly 2 and 3, which is why we've included it in this again.
Well, that and it's. Well, yeah, I suppose. But it's sequels.
Yeah,
and it is kind
we
of
do like to keep all the
remaking
franchises together.
Yeah. But it did feel like they kind of remade the
Yeah,
sequels.
or
to the
readapted them,
original
yeah.
In a better way. Yeah, readapted in a better way.
Yeah.
Which is always what I like to see from a remake. Which
Definitely, which is what we said last week for Brundlefly.
you said.
I agree. I could probably talk a lot about The Fly 2, but it'd probably just get boring. So we should probably wrap up, right?
I find you boring anyway, so
I
wrap up.
know. So that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us this week. Apart from you, not you. You as in Thomas, my co-host, my bro-host.
Yeah.
Not you. You're not thanked for joining this week. And if you
The
haven't
audience.
already...
You're being mean to the audience again.
No, I'm meaning to you.
Right, okay.
If you haven't already, click like and subscribe. What do you mean again? What have I been meaning to the audience?
I'm sure it's happened. Sure you've offended someone with.
I think it's hard to not offend anybody these days. So that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us this week. And if you haven't already, click like and subscribe. A glowing review would also be appreciated. We are Cynic_critique on X and Instagram and Cynic-critique on Blue Sky. Links to those and more can be found in the show's description. Next week we will return, just like The Fly returned. We're discussing the films that were double featured with the Fly trilogy.
Yeah.
So we've got 58's Space Master X7, 59's The Alligator People, and 65's Devils of Darkness. These are all first-time watchers, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be like. I'm hoping they're good.
I really hope they're bad now.
Great stuff. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.
You didn't have to hit him.
Quickest, simplest way, Doctor.
But these are people. You don't handle them like animals.